Hello, everyone. Today we are talking about Unearthed Arcana. We have some villainous options, and we're going to break into this very, very quickly. So, I'm just making sure everything's working for everyone who's watching, and we'll just jump right into it. So, let's go ahead and check out what's going on D&D Beyond. Thank you for joining the stream. I think this is good. Can everyone confirm you can hear me okay? My hair looks insane. It's been a day. Feels like my audio is a little delayed and I can't figure out why. No, I think it's fine. Okay. We will go ahead and bust into it. Um We got 18 people watching. I think we can go ahead and jump in. So thank you for your patience. I will have covered this very sooner, but we've got a lot of life stuff going on. And I am very excited for anything villainous in the sphere of D&D. I'm going to turn off my audio so I don't keep on hearing myself in a massive delay. I appreciate everyone in chat. Thank you so much. We are doing super chats today as well to support the stream and everything else in life. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I love an Unearthed Arcana. Super excited for this. We'll trim off the very beginning of this video. So I'm just going to make a break where I can see myself in the edit. So raising my hands. So when I use YouTube Studio's terrible software and I cut this live stream down, this is where we make the edit. And go. All right. Hey, everyone. Today we are talking about Unearthed Arcana 2026 Villainous Options. We're going to react to this live. Thank you so much for joining. We've got super chats going on as well. Thank you so much. If you are checking this out in the VOD, please leave your comments in the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that kind of thing. I'm also curious what everyone's opinions about this is. I am reacting to this live, and I'll have some more thoughts about this new Unearthed Arcana coming up very soon. So we're just going to dive in. Let's assume I've done this right into the villainous options. And let's go ahead and move it to a place where I can read it. So, as always, this is Unearthed Arcana 2026 Villainous Options. I will remind everybody that, in my experience, Unearthed Arcana can be overpowered sometimes. That will happen. Sometimes they'll be underpowered, but sometimes they'll be overpowered because it's much easier from a design standpoint to take something that is too powerful and slowly bring that power down to the right level. There's variations with that. Again, in my experience, one of the primary issues that we could sometimes have is, if something's, and I'm assuming this is still true. I don't know this for a fact. And I'm adjusting something else. The other issue that you can sometimes run into is if the feedback is like less than 70%, we throw it back into the water and recook things. I am not with Wizards of the Coast currently, but that is the kind of the tendency. So they don't like to ever not continue to work on something if it's ever below 70% rating from the survey feedback that you give. So it's great to leave comments. It's great to talk in Discords and forums and all that stuff. That stuff tends to be watched. Certainly by me, but the best thing you can possibly do is fill out the survey. That's the most important thing. So that's my big speech about how Unearthed Arcana works, and people do absolutely read and watch Unearthed Arcana. So, all right, I'm done. So what's inside? We've got the Cleric of Pestilence domain, Druid, Circle of the Titan, Fighter, Hell Knight, Sorcerer, Demonic Sorcery. We've got a content warning here. I think we're pretty familiar with how all of that works. Let's go ahead and dive in, because I've already told you how Unearthed Arcana works. So I'm going to shift it a little bit over to the left, and we could stand to zoom in, but I think that's fine. So these are the subclasses. We've got the Pestilence domain, Foment, Plague, and Rot. Clerics of the Pestilence domain harness supernatural plague and decay to erode their enemy's vitality through common folk. Though common folk often regard pestilence as a force of rampant destruction, clerics of this domain wield it with surgical precision. The pestilence domain is associated with the gods of poison, disease, famine, and rot. Screw those gods. These deities use blighted crops, magical outbreaks, swarms of insects and vermin to motivate or punish mortals in accordance with their doctrines. Their followers include apothecaries, doctors, poisoners, and royal tasters. Other followers might devote themselves to the gods of pestilence to spare their communities or loved ones from plague. Okay. So level 3, we get Blight Weaver. You gain the following benefits. Inoculate Soul. You have resistance to necrotic and poison damage, and you can't be infected by magical contagions. That is very specific. At level 3, you can't be infected by magical contagions. That's a very edge case. So, but resistance to necrotic and poison damage, I'll take that for sure. And then we've got Rot and Fester. Damage from your cleric spells and cleric features. Ignore resistance to necrotic and poison damage. Obviously a big issue when it comes to poison. And additionally, when you cast a cleric spell or use a cleric feature that deals either necrotic or poison damage, you can change that damage to the other type. That's always a nice thing to have, especially if you are building out your feats to help you with this type of thing. If you know that you're going to be doing a lot of poison damage as a cleric or necrotic damage, you obviously want to be the most effective person at that. So, all right. Level 3, the Pestilence domain spells. We got Detect Poison, Disease, Protection from Poison, Ray of Enfeeblement, Ray of Sickness, Stinking Cloud, Vampiric Touch, Blight, Giant Insect, Contagion, Insect Plague. It's okay. It's a decent... it's on theme. All these spells are on theme. Nothing really OP here. Yeah, I think that's great. I feel like we need more spells in D&D to fit this theme. That maybe are a little more effective. Stinking Cloud's not too bad. Contagion is very specific, but this would be a very weird subclass without it. Level 3, wow, we are just front loading lots of level 3 features. So moving along fairly rapidly. So level 3, Plague Blessing. As a magic action, you can present your holy symbol and expand a use of your channel divinity to manifest a 5-foot emanation of withering plague that surrounds you or one willing creature that you touch for 1 minute. It ends early if you dismiss it. This is handy already to put this on a barbarian. Each creature of your choice that starts its turn in the emanation must succeed a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or gain 1 exhaustion level. Wow. Okay. I'm not used to tracking exhaustion that closely, but that's pretty cool. This feature can't increase the creature's exhaustion level higher than a level equal to your wisdom modifier. Gotcha. For example, if you have a wisdom score of 16, you can't increase it higher than 3. This plague spread feature, manifests manifests with a specific symptom. I'm so tired. Choose it from the plague symptoms table or determine it randomly. I like these. Your entire emanation is drained of all color or appearing in monochromatic grays, shed metallic rust hue flakes, and creaks while moving. Secretes foul-smelling mucus. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Is surrounded by a cloud of buzzing insects, sprouts fungi, or other foliage from its flesh. And then is covered in growing pustules. Cool. This is a disgusting cleric class. I don't know who this is for. Mechanically, I think it's sound. I just think it's a really gross cleric class. That's my hot take right now. So yeah, I think handy for you to put this on barbarians. Even any melee character running around with this is pretty disgusting. And I think this is the features, the effects the character has. The plague spread by this feature manifests with the specific symptoms. I got you. So the exhaustion that they're feeling, not the person that you give it to, but the person who was affected by that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Gross either way. So we got a virulent burst. When an enemy is within 60 feet of you at level 6 and it is reduced to 0 hit points, you can take a reaction to cause plague to burst from that creature, spreading pestilence in a 10-foot emanation originating from the enemy. If that enemy had at least one level exhaustion, the size of the emanation increases by 20 feet. Wow. Okay. Each creature of your choice in the emanation makes a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, a target suffers one of the following effects. Putrid shock. The target has an incapacitated condition until the end of its next turn. While incapacitated, the target's speed is reduced to 0. That's some nasty stuff. Toxic infection. The target takes 3d6 necrotic or poison damage, your choice. It's going to be necrotic. You can use this feature number of times, equal to your wisdom modifier. Very typical stuff right there. So, moving along. Yeah, it kind of makes me miss the Spores Druid. I think I'd rather just get the Spores Druid back so far, but hey, this is a cool theme, and there are people who love this stuff. Level 17, Vermin Form. As bonus action, you can shapeshift into a medium swarm of tiny pests, such as cockroaches, maggots, or rats. While you're in this form, you retain your general shape, personality, memories, and the ability to speak any equipment that you're wearing or carrying doesn't transform with you. But you can continue using that equipment while in this form. Any equipment that you're wearing or carrying does not transform with you. Okay. So you're at level 17, you probably have a magical +1 cloak, +1 ring, maybe some magical weapons, maybe all your clothes are +1s. So Maggot's wearing a trench coat is basically where we're going. I actually had a character that was all cranium rats in a suit. So creepy. If you want to get my attention later, I would recommend doing super chats because I will see those, but I will also check out the @Tods. So let's see, making sure you can read this. Condition immunities. You're immune. You're immune to the grappled, paralyzed, prone, and restrained condition. Makes a lot of sense. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Also makes a lot of sense. Movement, you can enter and occupy another creature's space, and you get climb speed. That makes a lot of sense as well. And then we got Plague Bites. Whenever you enter an enemy's space, that creature takes damage equal to your wisdom modifier. That damage is necrotic, piercing, or poison, your choice. The creature also takes this damage when you enter your space, or it enters it here. The creature takes this damage once per turn. You get a lot of little buffs. A little bit extra damage. Not sure why you would run into Why would you? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this might be a little risky for the cleric to like dive in and surround someone. Feels like not for the massive benefit, but again, this takes me a while to like absorb and make characters using this playtest material, and that's the point. You revert to your true form after 10 minutes, and if you die, that goes away. You can't use this feature again until a long rest, or if you expend a level 5+ spell slot. I'm gonna have to really dig into this. It's great that you are giving resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for sure. It's not bad. So that's that mixed with plague bites and everything else. I think that's a good thing. So interesting class. Thematically, not my favorite, but I think it's pretty cool. And that's a personal emotion, not a critique of this class by any means. I just don't like plague stuff. So that is not a criticism in any way. Let's move on to the next one. Circle of the Titan. This one's pretty spicy. All right. Circle of the Titan Druid. Wreak colossal havoc when civilization violates the natural world by deforesting ancient groves, polluting sacred waters, or hunting wildlife to the brink of extinction. Druids of the Circle of the Titan intervene. Druids of this order believe that for nature to thrive, society must sometimes fall. To this end, they assume towering monstrous forms and met out cataclysmic retribution and forcibly restore the natural order. I think this is pretty cool already. So, everyone wants to play Druid Godzilla. Kind of reminds me of the primordial Druid that was kind of like the dinosaur Druid. But that's my vibe. Oh, we got 53 people watching. Fantastic. I think that's great. Let's keep on getting into it. Circle of the Titan spells: Cure Wounds, Long Strider, Thaumaturgy, Fear, Stone Skin, and Destructive Wave. Okay. Your Titan forms. When you use Wild Shape, you can adopt a Titan form choosing from the Behemoth, Leviathan, or Insectoid stat blocks presented later in the subclass description. This feels very this is like the Druid Godzilla. This is 100% the Druid Godzilla. And so specific. Is it Villainous, or does this feel like a tie-in subclass? Like literally a Godzilla Monarch, the TV show tie-in Druid, kind of. You determine what your tie-in form looks like. Roll or choose from the tie-in appearance table to inspire aspects of your appearance. Reflective scales, many tentacle. Oh, Behemoth is reflective scales. Okay. Yeah. So Behemoth, reflective scales, multiple heads, reptilian tail, woolly or simian. For Leviathan, it's many tentacled, translucent, blob-like, lamprey-like mouth, serpentine body. For Insectoid, it's iridescent wings, compound eyes, chitinous horns, bioluminescent exoskeleton. Yeah. This is definitely like Godzilla and Mothma. For sure. Level 6, Dire Impact. Your Titan form brings greater devastation. You gain the following benefits. Let's move you over here. Elemental Rend. Whenever you hit with your Titan form's Rend attack, you can cause it to deal your choice of acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage rather than its normal damage type. That's pretty cool. Shockwave. Your transformation upheaves your surroundings immediately after you assume your Titan form. By taking a bonus action, you expend a level +1 spell slot while you're in your Titan form. You can create a shockwave of a 15-foot emanation originating from you. Each creature in that emanation must succeed a Constitution saving throw, pretty mean, against your spell save DC or have the prone condition. That's okay. I mean, if the problem is if you are fighting another creature that is your size and you've taken this Titan form, this emanation really isn't going to do you much good because they're going to save on that Constitution saving throw probably. So, Kaiju Druid can't really fight Kaiju with this ability, but still very cool. Level 10, Primal Havoc. The unbridled power of nature surges within you, granting you the following benefits: improved Titan form. Improved Titan form. You can choose to become huge when assuming your Titan form. That's huge. Each Titan form also gains the following benefits, as noted in the respected stat block. Above it all, while you are huge or larger in your Titan form, difficult terrain caused by heavy snow, ice, rumble, and undergrowth doesn't cost you extra movement. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, situational. But you would feel that like it'd be weird for you to have that particular issue for sure, and I think that makes a ton of sense. Let me check something. All right. Moving on. Just rereading this one section. Thank you for holding. There we go. All right. That's a level 10. All right. Well, level 14, Monstrous Appetite. Your transformation embodies the vast size and terror of nature's titans. You gain the following benefits: gargantuan size. You can choose to become gargantuan when assuming your titan form. That's great. I'm so curious how this affects your emanations. I mean, this is a time to break out the minis. Grappling Rend. Once per turn, when you are a huge or larger and hit a creature with your Rend attack of your Titan form, you can give the target the grappled condition. Escape DC is based off your spell DC. You can only have one target grappled in this way at a time. You can basically eat somebody, grapple them. Pretty cool. Swallow. Oh, this is the part where we can eat someone. Okay, that's perfect. As a bonus action, while you are gargantuan, choose one large or smaller creature grappled by you. The target makes a strength saving throw against your spell DC. On a failure, you get to swallow the target, and the grappled condition ends on it. The swallowed creature has the blinded and restrained condition and has total cover against attacks and other effects outside your stomach, and takes 2d8 acid damage on the start of each of my turn. The number of creatures you can have swallowed at a time is equal to your wisdom modifier. What is going on? You must maintain concentration to hold swallowed creatures in your stomach. If you lose concentration or leave your Titan form, you regurgitate all swallowed creatures, each of which falls in a space within 10 feet of you. This is wild, and they're prone. I don't know what to say. This is what a wild subclass. I don't know. What does everyone think about this? This is so themed. This is so very specifically themed. It doesn't feel necessarily super villainous necessarily, but yeah, it feels like this feels like a movie tie-in, honestly. Or this feels like it's going. What do we have coming out this year? Do we have another monster Godzilla movie coming out? I don't know. That's what it feels like. This feels like a very different product, or for something that you would find in Dragon Magazine or something like that. But it's cool. Hey, you get to eat someone. How often do you get to do that in D&D? Again, we got super chats up, I believe. Perfect. Oh, Did we get a couple? Oh, my screen is really glitching out, so. Nope. I don't want to donate to myself. I'm doing great. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the stat blocks. So Leviathan is one of them. Gargantuan. AC, 2 times your druid level, 40-foot speed, and swim. You're amphibious, toxic stench, Constitution saving throw. Each creature of your choice within a 10-foot emanation, which your emanation is going to be massive. Assuming it's coming off of you in 10 feet off of your size, that actually hits a lot of people. There's a lot of kind of like an AoE emanation, because if you are gargantuan on the map and you have a 10-foot emanation, you're hitting a lot of targets. This is something I learned from doing, I believe, when there was a giant soul sorcerer. There are ways you could kind of cheese things to get your area of effect spells to hit way more targets. So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at the math of this. Yeah, multi-attack, 2 rend attacks. Reaction, you got Inky Cloud. You're literally playing a Kraken. Pretty cool. I'll play a Kraken. For sure. Inky Cloud trigger, you take damage. Response, you can expend a spell level 1 or higher to create an Inky Cloud, 15 feet. Yeah, this whole cloud is heavily obscured, etc. So that's pretty cool. Let me move this. I've got so many screens, I'm moving the wrong thing over and over again. I apologize. So we got BMF. Assume everyone at home can watch right now. And thank you everyone for who's jumping into chat right now and supporting the stream. I appreciate you. I know I've been a little absent lately, but we've had a lot of life stuff, as a lot of you know. So we've got the BMF. This is the Kaiju Godzilla. You've got these level restrictions, monstrosity. Temp HP, 2 times your druid level, so you're beefy. You got strength and dexterity scores are equal to your wisdom score. That's nice. Constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma don't change. Dark vision of 60 feet. Your language doesn't change. Rampager. When you enter a space of an enemy that is at least one size smaller than you for the first time on a turn, the creature is subjected to the following effects. Strength saving throw DC equal to your spell save DC. Failure. The target has the prone condition. If the target already has the prone condition, it instead takes 2d6 damage. And you are a siege monster. You deal double damage to objects and structures. Okay. Actions. Multi-attack. You make 2 rend attacks. Rend, melee attack roll. Bonus equal to your spell attack. Modifier reaches 10 feet. Incandescent breath. This is very much Godzilla breath. You expend the level 1 spell slot. Dexterity saving throw DC equal to your spell save DC. Each creature within it has a 5 foot. This is 5 foot wide, 60 foot long. Failure is 2d8 radiant damage per level of the spell slot expended, plus your wisdom modifier. Success is half damage. Thank you so much. Fume Demi. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate you. And then we've got Insectoid. You're large or huge, gargantuan, HP 2 times. This is all pretty standard. Flyby. You do not provoke an attack of opportunity if you fly out of the enemy's reach. Pretty cool. Hive Mind. When you assume this form, you can forge a telepathic link with a number of creatures of your choice, and you can see them. You can see, and that can communicate in at least one language. The maximum number, I don't know why we have to be so specific about language all the time in D&D. The maximum number of creatures is equal to your druid level. You and the chosen creatures can communicate telepathically with each other, whether or not you share a language, as long as you are on the same plane of existence. Oof. Okay. And actions, multi-attack. You make 2 rend attacks. Rend, you can do bunch of damage. Energizing pollen. You expend the level 1 plus spell slot and emit a cloud of healing pollen that you can restore a number of hit points equal to 2d8 plus 5 times your expended spell slot. Choose choose any number of creatures within 15 feet of yourself and divide those hit points among them. Okay. Yep. What do we think about this druid? I love I love Godzilla movies. My wife just came back from Japan a couple of weeks ago and got me a bunch of cool Godzilla stuff. I grew up with Godzilla stuff. This is very Godzilla themed. And this definitely feels like something that would come out of Dragon Magazine. It's a little wild. And I mean, I would have been like super excited for this, like right as Monarch is out. It feels like someone else at D&D is like watching Monarch right now too. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, the thing is, I really like wild experiments in D&D, so that's cool. Very specific. But yeah, why so villainous? Per level spell slot, I missed that much better. Yeah. No, I mean, I think this is great. I think it's just wild. And what a conversation with your dungeon master. If the subclass even works for that campaign. So I think it's really cool. And again, I'm very excited to see D&D take some wild swings, and this is a wild one. For sure. Okay. Going on to the Hell Knight. As you do. You're a Hell Knight. Hell Knights are champions of archdevils and other high-ranking fiends in the 9 hells, such as Cambions, Night Hags, armed with the techniques of the 9 hells. Fiercest warriors, Hell Knights inflict infernal wounds and fight with the tenacity of a devil. Devils and other sinister figures employ Hell Knights to enact their will across the multiverse. A Hell Knight might serve as a soldier on the front lines of the Blood War, while another might be tasked with punishing creatures that violate the infernal contracts or flee their consequences. Others act as interplanar bounty hunters, hastening... Wow, that's very specific. Infernal contracts... Wait. Others act as infernal bounty hunters, hastening the journey of wicked souls to the river Styx. Hell Knight's relationship with the 9 hells is transactional. Archdevils isn't everything. Archdevils see Hell Knights as an investment, and Hell Knights benefit in turn. The Hell Knights pursuits table lists the reasons why the fighter might become a Hell Knight. Feels a little bit more like a warlock, but this is definitely the warlock fighter, thematically. But, okay. Because the whole point of playing a warlock is that investment. But I get it. If you're a Hexblade warlock, well, do a dip into fighter. Hell Knight pursuits. Desired treasures only the 9 hells could grant you. Hunger for the power to be beyond mortal bounds. Make a wager with the devil. Sacrifice your soul to spare someone else's. That's pretty dope. Sought vengeance on an adversary who wronged you deeply or were fooled into fine print. This is really kind of ghostwritery Spawn kind of stuff. So, yeah. It does feel a lot like Illrigger. Yeah. Okay. As a soldier of the Agents of the 9 Hells, you've been granted with these fiendish powers. This is level 3 again. Devil's Sight, you can see dim light and darkness, 120 feet, 20 feet around you. And Devil's Tongue, you know Infernal, of course. Level 3, Hellfire Weapon. When you attack, with the attack action, you can imbue one of your weapons that you're holding with Hellfire, transforming it into a Hellfire Weapon. It remains transformed in this way for 10 minutes. Okay. Gotta move this here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there and watching. Yeah, you can see while transformed into a Hellfire weapon, a weapon emits a dim light into a 5-foot emanation. Whenever you deal damage with this weapon, it can deal your choice of fire damage or its normal damage type. Level 3, Infernal Wound. Your Hellfire weapon can inflict infernal wounds. Wow, this is, again, very stacked at level 3. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your Hellfire weapon, you can deal extra Hellfire damage equal to 1 roll of your Infernal Wound die and give the target an Infernal Wound. While wounded in this way, the target takes fire damage equal to your Infernal Wound die at the start of each of its turns. This effect lasts for 1 minute, so get damage over time. A little hard to track sometimes, but your players will do this for the Dungeon Master. Until the target regains hit points, or until the target or the creature within 5 feet of it takes action to staunch the wound, a target can be affected only by 1 instance of this feature. Pretty cool. I like damage over time. I think it's really hard to do in tabletop, but yeah. Level 7, Advanced Wounds. When you roll your Infernal Wound die and roll a 6, you can apply one of the following effects. Purulence of Minerus, I don't know how to say that. Caustic pus erupts from the wound. Each creature within 5 foot of the emanation originating from that target creature takes acid damage equal to your Constitution modifier. And the target has the poison condition until the start of the next turn. Pretty cool. When you roll your Infernal Wound die and you roll a 6, you can apply one of the following conditions. Okay, this is that's I worry about how often this is going to happen. I worry about how often this is going to happen in a typical combat round. I mean, combat may only be 3 rounds, maybe 5. But you got multiple attacks. I don't know the math on that. How often is this going to happen, chat? Could happen. A healthy amount. This is level 7. Rupture of Cania, the wound ruptures, and also these are great effects. The wound erupts with a spurt of arcane energy. The target takes force damage equal to your Constitution modifier. That's cool. And Stygian Gangrene Infernal Rime spreads out from the wound. The target takes cold damage equal to your Constitution modifier. And it can't take reactions until the start of next turn. Pretty cool. Wow, level 7 again. Your armor weapons embody your weapons and armor embody the fires of Avernus, granting you the following benefits: fire resistance while wearing armor or wielding a shield. You gain resistance to fire damage. Unholy fire damage from your weapon attacks, and fighter features ignore resistance to fire damage. All right. This feels like feels very Joe Manganiello coded in terms of like his character that he plays with this heavy focus on infernal stuff. So Archon seems like this type of guy. And also Archon's boys, like that doesn't Archon in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus had a very kind of necromancy kind of plaguey turtle that played along with him, and also a minotaur that was part of his crew, as I recall. That was all in Joe Manganiello's crew, and Joe just happened to be at D&D headquarters not very long ago, and his whole crew kind of sound like all these subclasses, but that's a wild hypothetical. So yeah. Hellfire Surge. When you use your action surge while wearing armor at level 10 or wielding a shield, you can superheat your equipment, causing it to erupt with hellfire in a 10-foot emanation originating from you. Each creature of your choice in the emanation must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes fire damage equal to 1 roll of your infernal die and is burning on a successful save. It'd be so weird to revisit the hells right now. Oh, am I frozen? I don't think I'm frozen. Oh yeah, I'm not frozen. Okay. Blister of Avernus. These tiles are disgusting. Your hellfire leaves painful boiling blisters. When you roll 6 on your infernal wound die, you can roll another d6 and add it to the damage. The maximum number of d6s that you add to the infernal wounds damage on a turn is 3. Hellfire condemnation. Level 18. Whenever you damage your hellfire whenever you damage with your hellfire weapon or infernal wound reduces a creature to 0 hit points, the creature dies, and the soul rises from the river of Styx as a lemur. Whoa! That's going to change. Whenever you damage from your hellfire weapon or infernal wound reduces a creature to 0 hit points, that creature dies, and its soul rises from the river Styx as a lemur in a lair of the 9 hells of your choice in 1d4 hours. If that creature isn't revived before then, only a wish spell can return the creature to life. That's wild, and I will be genuinely surprised if that survives. Okay. D&D is not PvP. It's so specific. Level 18, Infernal Bargain. When you roll your Infernal Wound die, you can treat a roll of a 1 as a 6. So specific. Interesting. A lot of these subclasses have a lot of specific wild curveballs, and I think that's pretty cool. Genuinely shocked. I'm not often genuinely shocked. All right. Let's get into the demonic sorcery. Use some of the power of the abyss. The corruption magic of the demons courses through you, making you a conduit of the infinite layers of the abyss and their horrors. Your gift might stem from a distant demonic ancestry, a fated encounter with a demon that cursed you, or a brush with the dark hunter of the abyss. The abyss is a plane of wickedness and disorder, and this chaos echoes in your innate magic. Abyssal energy erupts from you, warping your body and surroundings in tandem with your sorcery. These abyssal eruptions manifest in strange, gruesome ways. Roll on or choose the abyssal manifestations table to inspire how your connection with the abyss may manifest. So we got abyssal fissures marking your flesh. We got insects writhe on your skin. We have sheets of scorched skin. Your flesh bubbles and froths. Your fingers or other extremities discolor. Frostbitten, you grow a second head. This has no impact on your game stats. Level 3, Abyssal Rupture. When you spend at least 1 sorcery point as part of a magic action or a bonus action on your turn, you can unleash one of the following magical effects. Demonic Lash. One creature you can see within 20 feet of you takes 1d4 slashing damage, and if it is a larger or smaller creature, you can pull it up to 10 feet closer to you. Fiendish Carapace. Until the start of your next turn, attack rolls against you have disadvantage. Wow. You're going to be spending that stuff, so kind of tanky. When you reach a sorcery level specified in the demonic spells table, you thereafter always have these listed spells prepared: Detect Magic, Integral Misty Step, Spider Climb, Dispel Magic, Ashes Form, Confusion, Hallucinatory Terrain, Contact Other Plane, and Hallow. We do have super chats. Thank you. Per level of spell slot, I missed that much better. Thank you, Daniel Powell. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Abyssal Aura. When you use your innate magic sorcery, you can infuse it with the chaos of the abyss. Reality warps around you in a 10-foot emanation originating from you, filling the area with demonic effect. Roll on the abyssal effects table to determine that effect. And obviously there's a saving throw. You can use this feature once per rest. Sticky webs. Thick webs fill the emanation, making it difficult terrain for your enemies. Each enemy that starts in this turn with this emanation must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained. Chaotic ooze. Slick or oily gunk covers the ground in this emanation. Each creature or enemy that starts its turn on the ground takes 1d6 acid damage, must succeed on dexterity saving throw. Terrifying screams. Each enemy that starts its turn in this emanation takes 1d6 psychic damage or get the frying condition. All right. Enthralling spores. Wow, there's a bunch of these. Intoxicating spores fill the emanation, which is heavily obscured for creatures of your choice. When you reach sorcerer level 11, each enemy starts its turn in this emanation. Has the charmed condition. Okay. Poisonous foliage. Foliage. The emanation is lightly obscured by demonic flora. Each enemy that starts its turn takes 1d6 poison damage, must succeed at a constitution saving throw, or get the poison condition. The damage increases by 1d6 as you reach higher sorcery levels. And enervating bones. Spectral limbs erupt from the ground, reaching to sap life around them. Each enemy that starts its turn in this emanation takes 1d10 necrotic damage and can't regain hit points until the end of its next turn. The necrotic damage increases by 1d10 when you reach sorcerer level 11 and 16. Abyssal Conduit. Your abyssal power reaches their full potential. You gain the following benefits. Your abyssal aura is now a 20-foot emanation. Control chaos. Whenever you would roll on the abyssal effects table, you can roll twice and choose which effects you want to use. This is very wild magic sorcery coded. If you roll both on the same table, you can instead choose any effect on the table. And then Fiendish Servant, you can cast Summon Fiend without a martial component, and you can cast this with the spell slot as well. Regain the ability to cast it this way for a long rest. That's pretty cool. So, Sorcerer is pretty cool. Nasty stuff. And we got some Path of Villainies. Everyone wants to play a monster. I know Daggerheart already has a lot of monstrous options, and I think everyone's moving towards monsters and evil for a spell. Let's go ahead and jump in. Yeah, we got feat trees. These are like the paths that we saw in the Dragonlance and Big B's Guide to Giants. So we've got, this is the Death Knight path of feats. Obviously, we know what Death Knights are. Lord Soth is one of everyone's favorite one, and this is very, hey, people have that fantasy of becoming a Death Knight. This is it. So, while each Death Knight is unique, every Death Knight descent into villainy begins with a significant dishonorable act, deliberate wrongdoing, and you can roll on the table down here. You abandon your companions in battle, betrayed a loved one, intentionally harmed an innocent, made a pact with a malevolent entity such as a demon lord, offended a benevolent god, or violated a sworn oath. Obviously, we've got a bunch of. The most famous one is always going to be Lord Soth, Knight of the Black Rose, ruler of Dagard Keep in the world of Kryn. This is Dragonlance's version of Darth Vader. Path of the Death Knight feats. So, to complete the Path of the Death Knight, begin by taking the Death Knight Initiate feat, followed by any other Path of Death Knight feat that you can choose. Finally, when you reach level 12 or higher, you take the Death Knight Ascension feat. So, Death Knight Initiate, these are all, you see you can increase your strength charisma by 1. You get death points. Your dedication to the path of Death Knight gives you access to profane powers of undeath. Your ability to use such powers is represented by death points. You have a number of these equal to your proficiency modifier. Dread Strike, you always have Wrathful Smite prepared. Charisma is your spell casting modifier for this. You can cast it without expending a spell slot. Wow. When you expend death points to cast Wrathful Smite, the target has disadvantage on wisdom saving throws to avoid or end the spell's effect. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Pretty cool. Makes you really nasty for any caster who wants to go down this road, and technically you don't have to be a warrior to choose any of these feats. As a fighter, you can climb the ranks of this pretty fast. Kind of the issue with fighters is you can take paths very quickly. If it falls within your class. Dread Strike, you can always, yeah, we already got that. Dread Authority. Increase again to Constitution or Charisma. Cool. You can always have the command spell prepared. Charisma is your spell. Lord Soth does this all the time. Charisma is your spell casting ability for this. You can cast it without expending a spell slot. Using one death point, you can also cast this spell using any spell slots that you have as well. That's pretty cool. And undead have disadvantage on the saving throw. Very Lord Soth class. Harbinger of Doom, Path Knight, Path of the Death Knight feat, Strength, Constitution, or Charisma can go up. So this makes a lot of sense for a paladin here. But still, I think a fighter is going to jump the ranks. Increase your strength. Yeah, okay. Ill Omen. You always have the Bane spell prepared. Charisma is your spell casting modifier. Okay, it's getting a little mad. You can cast it without expending a spell slot or by using a death point. When you expend death points to cast Bane, the affected targets subtract 1d6 from their attack rolls and saving throws instead of a 1d4. That's pretty cool. Is this say anything about having to play a paladin? I'm not seeing anything. Okay. Deathly Presence, Path of the Death Knight, Strength, Charisma can go up, Constitution, Awful Presence. You always have the Fear spell prepared. Charisma is your spell casting ability for this spell. You can cast it without expending a spell slot by expending one death point as well. When you do this, you can deal 7 2d6 psychic damage. What? That's normally something we only do for monsters. We don't give flat damage. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. When you expend a death point to cast Fear, you deal 7 2d6 psychic damage to each creature that fails its saving throw against the spell, in addition to the spell's normal effects. We don't usually do that unless it's for a monster, do we? No, I don't think we do. Unholy Steed. You can increase your strength, Constitution up to 20. Spectral Steed. You can get the Find Steed spell. If you use this, the steed is a fiend, and the target you choose has disadvantage on wisdom saving throws against its fell glare. You can also cast this spell using any spell slots you have. What am I missing here? You always have the Find Steed spell prepared. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this spell. You can cast it without expending a spell slot by expending one death point. When you expend death points to cast Find Steed, the summoned steed is a fiend, and the targets you choose have disadvantage on wisdom saving throws against its fell glare. Okay. And Death Knight Ascension. Your path to a Death Knight is complete. You can increase your strength, charisma by 1. Undead, your creature type becomes undead. Unholy Enemy, you have resistance to necrotic and poison damage. You don't gain exhaustion levels from dehydration or malnutrition or suffocation. And Hellfire Orb, as a magic action, you can spend 1 to 5 death points to throw up an orb of pure Hellfire at a point you see. This is definitely all Lord Soth. At a point that you can see within 120 feet, each creature within the 20-foot radius of the sphere centered on a chosen point makes a dexterity saving throw. And on a failed save, the targets take 2d6 fire damage and 2d6 necrotic damage per death point spent as well. Blowing through these suckers. Yeah, Eldritch Night Fighter would be my choice. I agree. For burning through these. And we got Path of the Lich. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. All right, Path of the Liches. We got liches across the universe, obviously. And we don't have to dig into this. You know what liches are. I know what liches are. Zastam, Vecna, Vlaakith. We know all about that stuff. So we're going to move over to the feats themselves. Every wizard, anyone who plays a wizard has thought about playing a lich. Yeah, I feel like vampire's going to be in here eventually. Sorry for the coughing. We got Lich Initiate. You take your first steps towards Lichdom, which is involving creating your spirit jar, a magical vessel that anchors your soul to the world of the living in the event of your body's destruction. You can increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Choose a tiny object. It becomes your spirit jar, and there's lots of inspirations for this. You have only one spirit jar at a time. You create a spirit jar, and if you make a new one, the old one is destroyed. And are there any benefits? There is. Wait, are there any benefits? You increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. You spend a long rest anchoring your soul to this object, allowing it to consume the souls of the living to bolster your own power. You have only one spirit jar at a time. If you create a second jar, it could be acorn. It can be all kinds of like holy symbols, discade body part, Vecna. Spirit jar destruction. If your spirit jar's armor class, your spirit jar's armor class is equal to your spell save DC and has a number of hit points equal to your spell casting ability modifier plus your character level. If your spirit jar is destroyed, you gain 2 levels of exhaustion and you can't use your soul siphon ability. Okay, here we go. Until you create a new one. Perfect. We're missing something. I was gonna say. I was getting confused. Soul siphon. When you reduce a humanoid enemy to 0 hit points, you can consume its soul and gain a boost of arcane energy. No action required. On your next turn, the first creature you hit with a attack takes necrotic damage equal to 1d6. Any attacks that spells. You also gain the benefits of someone else reduces a humanoid enemy within 10 feet of you to 0 hit points. A soul is consumed in this way and can only be reduced, only resurrected via true resurrection or wish spell. That's cool. Arcane Restoration. When you use Soul Siphon to consume a soul, you can choose one or more expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level equal to no more than 4. Once you use this feature, you can't use it until a long rest. Cool feat. Transfer life. When you use Soul Siphon to consume a soul, you can choose a creature within 60 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Cool. Undead Grasp. You know the Chill Touch cantrip. If you already know it, you learn another cantrip of your choice. When you deal damage with Chill Touch, you can expend a level 1 plus spell slot to attempt to paralyze the target. The target takes 1d10 necrotic damage per level of the spell slot expended. Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. I mean, they're not control feats. and I'm curious how this works in play. That'll be fun to test. Undead, you become an undead. Lich Ascension. You became resistant to necrotic and poison damage, and you don't gain exhaustion levels. You learn the fear spell if you don't have it, and you can cast the spell without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your spell casting ability modifier. Rejuvenation, if you die, you reform 1d10 days later if your spare jar is intact and you aren't revived before then. You gain a new body appearing within all of your hit points near an unoccupied space within 5 feet of your spare jar. Pretty cool. That's what we want, kids. I'm very cool, but I'm very curious how the soul points work and how that all comes together, for sure. And that's it. That's it, folks. Sorry I ran through that really fast. It's been a very busy day. As some of you know at home, we've had a lot of life stuff with Megan and I, but I wanted to take the time very briefly to kind of discuss the Unearthed Arcana. What do you all think? I mean, how does everyone feel about this Unearthed Arcana? I'm very curious. Yeah, it's a very unique Unearthed Arcana, 100%. Kaiju Druid, very specific. The thing about liches is, but that's a lot of feats to take. It's a lot of feats for a wizard, I think. I mean, I think those are the feats you're taking, right? Let me take a look. Prerequisite for Lich Ascension. Level 12 plus at least 2 Path of the Lich feats. Okay. I mean, I think that's fair. You're becoming undead and you're coming back from the dead. I think that's totally fair for a Lich. I love that they're thinking outside the box as well. Go ahead and hit me up in super chats if you want to talk more. Hell Knight is very specific as well. Feels like that should be a warlock, but I get it. You're a fighter and you become a Hell Knight. Makes sense thematically that you are a fighter. Make that instead of having to make a pact as warlock. Druid is very specific. I don't know if it belongs in the villainy section. I like that we have a Death Knight. I like that we have a Death Knight feat tree. I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, feat trees. Oh well, all subclasses in D&D are essentially prestige classes. So, what else? What else do we have? Not a fan of the Plague Cleric, just because I don't like the theme of the Plague Cleric. But not mechanically. I think that's going to definitely be someone's favorite thing. And then Sorcerer, that has kind of an abyssal origin, makes a lot of sense as well. And that's kind of my take on it right now. I'm going to have to see how. There's a lot of wild mechanical stuff that's happening, and we're going to have to see how that manifests. I think these are pretty wild swings, and I think that's awesome. We've got a great D&D design team, and I appreciate that they're taking these larger, more robust swings. Some of these items feel a little more like digital drops than maybe something that would fall into a full-ass book. Todd Kenrick, will there be a pre-show or not? No pressure. There very well might be. I just need a break. I'm losing my voice. I've been up since early this morning. But I appreciate all of you. And I will definitely drop more thoughts in the comments later as I have time. I need to get some food in me. Thank you all for showing up for the live stream. I really appreciate all of you. Please leave your comments in the video itself to help other people and help us with the math. Like, how is the math on this? Cool. I've always wanted to play a Death Knight, always wanted to play Lich. Just 2 aspirations of mine as a character. I think everyone has that aspiration at some point. What wizard doesn't want to eventually become a Lich? Lich spell slot. I mean, unless you play a wizard, you don't realize how powerful those little Lich feats can be, and being able to just pop back up because you have a soul jar somewhere hidden. pretty smart, pretty powerful, little OP, but like you're playing D&D. This is not a PvP game, so that's part of the fun. Once things get to level 18, things should get crazy. Yeah. So, all right. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for hanging out and chatting. I may very well be back in a few minutes. All right. Have a great day.